Hi, everybody. We're talking about prayer, and no better place to look than in the book of Job. What I want to talk about today is the prayer of protection. Prayers for personal safety. Now, we see in the 4th verse that Job's sons went and feasted in their houses, everyone on his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. I wonder what they was drinking. And it was so. When the days of their feasting were going about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, and he probably said this to himself, he may have even said it out loud. Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." This did Job continuously. But we all know the story. They died. So all of that sacrificing, all of those offerings, all of those prayers for protection were for nothing. Because the thing that he was praying against actually happened. And he says it over here in the 3rd verse. He says, let me see if I can find that verse. He says, in the last verse of the 3rd chapter, for the thing which I greatly feared. Now there it is. He was praying in fear. So fear is an opposite of faith. He was not praying in faith. He was praying in fear. He says, for the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me. And that which I was afraid of is come unto me. And the chapter ends with the 26th verse. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet. Yet trouble came. Lord have mercy. Trouble does come. I suspect, this is just my interpretation, that Satan didn't know the hedge was open of protection. All this while that Job is afraid and praying in doubt and unbelief. All this time, he was protected and didn't know it. And I somehow suspect, because I'm very careful, trying to think for God, But I suspect that God challenged Satan to attack Job because Job had some fear to get rid of. You know, sometimes when all hell breaks loose, you just say, when the next thing comes, oh well. But I believe that Satan was looking at Job and did not notice this hedge. A hedge created by Job's lack of faith in God protecting him and his family. Okay? Satan was not, I'm old school. I was going to say Satan was not hip enough at that time. He hip now. But he was not hip enough to see that Job was already in his hands based on that fear. That all that offering and all that praying he was doing was because of fear. And I see the same thing happening with people that call me who are praying about everything. And one of the things that I tell people who have been demonized is stop all religious activity, including prayer. It's not doing you any good, right? You praying and you praying, you fasting and you praying, you know, you falling out and you shouting, you commanding and you're doing all these things and none of it's working. So with good common sense, I say stop it all. The main reason why I say to stop it all is because if you've had a false conversion, then you're not praying to the real Jesus. You praying to the fake one. So, stop it. Stop all religious activity. Because it's without power anyway. It's not doing you any good anyway. God protects his people. He doesn't need them coming to him, you know, continuously to ask for protection. That's an insult. He's protecting you. He's got that hedge up. One of the things that we need to do when it comes to praying for protection is we need to have a good eye in terms of assessing our life and what's going on around us. You know, if I stumble and fall too much or trip, or there's a little accident here, I read that. And I go before God and ask him, what's up with this? What do I need to know? What are all these little mishaps telling me? That's what my prayer is. My prayer is, let me know what I'm doing wrong. Let me know what I'm believing wrong. And then, you know, I will do whatever it takes to correct my behavior, to deal with the issue at hand. And I think that's one of the things that we have to learn to do. It's raining out here. You all hear the raindrops? That's what we need to do. We need to check ourselves, you know, if there's a lot of confusion going on around us. I remember last year I went out in the snow to my usual place where I go in the dark to the Y to do my lap swimming. But it had snowed so much that the appearance of the terrain looked different. And I made the wrong turn. And then when I looked up, I was on a street that I'd never seen before. It was a lonely, dark, winding road. And there was no place to go to try to make that turn, to go back around. And finally I saw a little spot that I could go in to make that turn. I get in the spot and I'm stuck. I got my cell phone, but the battery's dead. It needs to be charged, and I can't find the charger in the car because it's too dark. And I go, I'm like, oh, I am not good for getting out of stuck places. So I hollered out, Lord, come help me. I need you. Help me. And as soon as I said it, I put my foot on that pedal, okay? And I was out of that space. And getting out of that space was dangerous because there was oncoming cars that could have hit me while I'm trying to get out. But the Lord was there, and he protected me. And I haven't had very many accidents. You know, I've never had a broken bone or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, this is the key to this word. If you're praying a whole lot for your protection and your safety, you in danger by doing that. Just like Job was. Because you're not praying in faith. You're praying in fear.